All right, back now for a long-time Thursday night tradition on Fox 2. Yes, it's Let It Rip, and joining me now on this really important topic, Republican State Senator Jim Runestad, Democratic State Representative Noah Arbit, and our own Charlie Langton, who's always out and about on Fox 2. It's good to see all three of you. Let's get to it. We're talking about this huge tectonic plate that's moved in this election, and here we go. I want to show you a poll real quickly here. How quickly things can change in a few days. This poll shows right now that Harris has a 20-point lead with young voters. This is according to Axios. This poll was conducted on the 21st, 60 to 40%. Jim Runestad, when you look at numbers like that and you look at $100 million that this woman was able to raise in just a short day, what does that tell you about where this country is going and what it wants?
That's one poll from younger voters. I was looking at polls just before I came in here, and the polls are pretty steady from what Biden had to what Kamala Harris has. The swing states, she's still underwater. This is the critical stuff. This is the key stuff, not some one demographic on one poll. But I think that
Jim, underwater, 2 points, 3 points, is that underwater to you?
No, it was 2 points in Michigan. It was 1 point down in Wisconsin. But the other states, they were 6, 8, 10 point differences on the swing states.
Noah, what does that poll tell you right now about what's happening, and what are you sensing out there with young people?
Well, as a young person myself, 28 years old, you know, I sense everything has shifted. This is tectonic of a moment, as tectonic of a moment in politics as there could be. We're excited, we're fired up, we're ready to elect Kamala Harris, our 47th president of the United States. And young voters are excited to see someone who's actually going to ensure that we have the rights, resources, and opportunities to fulfill our biggest potential. Charlie
Langton, we call the show The Pulse. You have your hand on the pulse more than anybody else in Metro Detroit when it comes to what people are saying and thinking. Kamala Harris, is this just a honeymoon period? And is it just going to be an uphill battle from here for her?
No, I think this is a little bit of a honeymoon period, but she is different. She is new. And I think that Trump, I just heard him the other day, it's the same old thing. He's got to reinvent himself. Now, I think it's going to come down to a couple of the issues. You know, Kamala Harris is interesting. We don't really know what she's going to say. TikTok is going wild and crazy on some of the wild and crazy things she says. But the bottom line here is, let's get over this honeymoon period. They've got a convention up. Democrats will get a couple bumps after that. But then we're getting real close to the election. How will the Republicans frame Kamala Harris? Is it a border issue, maybe? Is it something that she's not confident? I don't know where it is going to be. But what is it going to... But the problem I see with Trump is this is going to be election again. Do you like Trump or don't like Trump? Kamala Harris is secondary.
Okay, let's take the issues out of the picture for a moment here and go to Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican who, of course, told all of the party leadership and the Republicans, stop making this personal. Don't make it about her sex, her gender. Don't make it about her race, Indian or black. Make this about policy. And then people came out after that and said this is a DEI hire. Jim, I'm going to ask you as a Republican who I know very well, is a good man, a good person. How is it a DEI hire if this person was the district attorney of San Francisco, the attorney general of California, a senator, and then the vice president of the United States? It seems like she's checked a lot of boxes, wouldn't you think, just qualification-wise?
Well, certainly it shouldn't be about race. It shouldn't be about gender. But everything that Biden is saying, these are the way he's making these appointments. It's outrageous. On the Republican side, it's merit, merit, merit. We don't care what your race and gender are. We have the best candidate. But everything I'm hearing out of Biden in terms of this selection, it's about these optics, not the merit, not the best.
What about the merits of the district attorney, the attorney general, a U.S. senator, and the vice president of the United States? Isn't that a lot of a great resume, wouldn't you say, to go run for office? It's more than what Trump had when he ran.
Oh, I don't have a problem with her resume. I have a problem with the Democrat Party always using race, gender, these divisive things to try to carve wedges into the narrative, and that's what's happening
called her a lunatic the other day. What category does that fit into?
Projection.
It's certainly not. Is there male lunatics? Is there diversity of lunatics? It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. No, he was asking specifically.
He's asking about these optics.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about policy for a moment. Kamala Harris and the border. She was never quite the border czar, as has been heavily reported falsely. She was simply given the task of figuring out the root cause of the problem. That being said, Do you think Kamala Harris did a good job with the border? No, Arbit?
I think the Republicans in Congress did a terrible job with the border.
But the question isn't that. I understand she was up against the Republicans.
No.
Did she do a good job as someone who was in charge of determining what was wrong with the border? Do you think she did a good job?
Her job was a diplomatic mission to look at the root causes of migration with the Triangle countries in Central America.
And you believe she did well with that?
I absolutely do believe she did well with that. But the fact is that the Biden-Harris administration had a bill in Congress's on Congress to make sure that the border was going to be fixed, to channel resources to administrative law judges to process asylum claims appropriately and make sure that we are channeling resources where they're needed at the border. But Republicans in Congress balked because Donald Trump said no. He wanted to keep this alive as a political issue.
You got to be able to cross the border, cross the aisle, I should say, and get things done.
This was negotiated. This was a bipartisan negotiation.
But it didn't
because of the Republicans. Because of the Republicans.
Okay,
you want the truth of what actually happened?
Go ahead, Jim. We have 2 minutes left. Go ahead, Jim.
Let me hear the truth. The truth on what actually happened. Obama's border chief said if we hit 1,000 crossings a day, that's a crisis. We're now at 45 through his entire time. Biden's, it was 4,600 per day. A crisis by Obama's own. So then this ridiculous bill that was put in by a handful of Republican who always go along with all this garbage. So what it said is we're going to let 5,000 come in a day, which is what's happening legally. And then after 5 years, we're going to amnesty them.
As Americans, they deserve better than both Republican and Democratic lawmakers who don't want to get it done for the right reason, but to support their candidate. That's the truth. Now, here's my question to you now. You talk about what Charlie mentioned, the tone and the mood of the campaign. These two have a responsibility to get that temperature way down. Do you think Donald Trump is doing a good job at that?
I think with all these candidates, whichever side it is, if you are saying that the other side is a threat to our democracy, a threat to the republic, that you're going to be having people thrown in.
But do you think Donald Trump is doing his part to bring the... Let me ask you this. If Joe Biden, I'm just going to give you a quick thing. If Joe Biden kissed the helmet of a fallen a firefighter and then looked at the front of it as though the person is still there and pointed it and walked away, the Republicans would fry him and call him a lunatic and a weirdo. This president is immune from anything that is considered strange or lunacy, and perhaps there's a double standard. Do you think that this man needs to rein it in a little bit?
Hugging the kind of image, the effigy of this person who
kissing the helmet. Yes.
I mean, I don't think that had Biden had done that, I couldn't care less. I care about his policies.
But do you think he needs to do better to bring the temperature down and to be more presidential? Do you think the president?
I would like if both sides were dealing more with the issues and less on the personalities. Yes, I would like that much better.
What about you, no Arbit? Do you think Kamala Harris is going to run a clean campaign, or is she going to go downright nasty?
Kamala Harris is going to run a campaign that frames the stakes for our democracy and for our country adequately and appropriately. You know, the Democrats are not the party that is talking about that fomented a coup, an insurrection on January 6th.
Before the break, we were having a really important discussion about what these two candidates can contribute. We want to give all of our panelists an opportunity to wrap things up with their final thoughts. Noah, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, I think that the American people want a president who is going to call on our better angels, a president that's going to help all of us, no matter where we live, where we come from, the color of our skin, or who we love, the rights, resources, and opportunities to achieve our fullest potential. That president is Kamala Harris.
Representative Arbit, thank you so much. Representative Runestad, go ahead. You have 30 seconds.
Well, Kamala Harris is Biden 2.0. You're going to have the exact same thing. Exploding border, people coming in, bringing in fentanyl, death, destruction across the border, massive inflation, crime, everything you saw with Biden, you're going to see the same thing and more with Kamala Harris.
Charlie Langton, final thoughts.
Get ready for the dirtiest, ugliest, raciest campaign that this country has ever seen. You think it's mean now? Get ready. It's going to be meaner. I'm telling you right now, from both sides. Don't like it, but that's the reality.
Charlie Langton will be here for every minute of it, of course, covering it, as we all will here at Fox 2. A big thanks to our panel for helping break down the big issues for us tonight. It's a wild political cycle, and the Pulse is here to keep you covered all the way through November.